All right. Well, thank you for being here for just this little taste of giving some love and nurture and seeing if we can find a little bit of ease in our bodies, especially as our bodies are going through so much right now. So I'm gonna share my screen for just a little bit. Okay. So yeah, the invitation here is really just to discover a little bit more ease and to tend to a little bit of ease in our bodies. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge how amazing our bodies are. I mean, there is so much that so many of us are going through right now. And these bodies are holding us, imperfectly. There's aches, there's pains, there's chronic pain, there's all kinds of things going on. Um, but if you're able to watch this, we're breathing, our lungs breathe 20,000 times a day. So just that deep gratitude, if you want to take a breath and feel, 20,000 breaths in a day, that we don't have to think about doing that. It's just happening. Our heart beating 100,000 times a day. So I'm just feeling that gratitude. That our bodies and our nervous systems are doing so much work to try and keep us safe and to keep us healthy and connected to each other. And so the invitation during this process is to just look for a little bit of ease. And if at any point I ask you to notice something that you don't want to notice or it feels painful or uncomfortable, don't look there anymore. Take a breath, give yourself a gentle touch. But the purpose of this is just, can we discover just a little bit more ease? And before we get started, I just wanted to share this tool. All of this work comes from the Power of Ease keys, and I'll share a little bit more about that at the end. But in these images, but look how far up our lungs go. Go ahead and touch your clavicle up here, and like realize that the lungs are a little bit. I don't know if you can see my cursor; they're a little bit below that. And so just try like tucking your shoulders in, and try and take a deep breath. Bianca, if you don't mind unmuting, like, what do you notice when you hunch your shoulders and try and take a deep breath?
Just feels stuck.
You feel stuck, yeah. Okay, now open the shoulder gate back up and take a breath. What do you notice?
And more flow.
Yeah. And so just in order to make our nervous system get some nourishment, to get fed, regardless of what's going on in our heads and our hearts and our worry, just letting the actual physiology of our body get fed, it needs to be able to get that oxygen and that circulation. And so just these little things of like opening the shoulder gate so that that full lung capacity has the ability to move. So with that in mind, I'm gonna just take this image and then I'm gonna take it away. And I invite you first, just start by give yourself a little hug. That gratitude for this sweet body that is protecting us. And then we felt how you could take a breath when and your lungs are all the way up here. Take your arms. Well, let's start with putting just our hand up here on the top of our chest so we can touch that clavicle up at the top of the lungs, and then put the other hand down. I don't know if you can see, down on your belly, and then take a deep breath and just feel how your chest, your ribs rise up. Let the breath out. Feel how your belly moves when you breathe. See if you can feel yourself breathing into your back, into like your shoulder blades. Because literally, when we are able to get oxygen to our brain and to our spinal cord, that is helping to calm our nervous system. This feeling on the chest can be helpful for some. Another way to do this same like full body breathing is to put your arms under your armpits. See if you can feel your ribs under your armpits, and then just breathe into your hands. I really like this because it feels like I'm holding myself. I'm like literally holding myself up. See if you can feel that breath into the back of your ribs, the back of your shoulder blades. Anything that you notice as you're doing this, Bianca?
I'm just doing it while I sway from side to side, and it just feels, yeah, really relaxing, nourishing.
Yeah. So your body just naturally wanted to add a little sway to it,
Mhm.
which
Mm.
is that which is amazing because that's the fluids in our spinal cord. Our nervous system is made up of our brain and our spinal cord. And those fluids want to be able to move so they can nourish our whole nervous system. And that swaying actually helps the fluid and the oxygen to move. So in alignment with that sway that you're doing, and I'm going to keep my hands here because it feels good to hold myself right now. The other thing we can do is we can wag our tail like a dog. So first, just or like a horse or like an elephant, just like wag it side to side or however you feel like wagging it. And then what's really helpful to get those fluids moving is to tuck, like when a dog like sends its tail in between its two legs by tucking its butt and sending that tail in between up underneath, and then whoop, floop the tail back. So what you're doing is you're tipping your pelvis bone, tipping it backwards and then tipping it forwards, tipping it backwards, and let there be just like a gentle pumping of your hip bone forward and backwards. You can see, yeah, forward and backwards. You're just tucking and let that match your breathing and see what you notice. And stop and let it just sit kind of straight up. Take a deep breath. I'm gonna open, for me, I wanna like open now, open my chest up, and then try that wagging it back and forth. Get a little wag. I notice that I have a really hard time wagging my tail without smiling. So that's just a little way I can get a little smile for myself. And then let it be still. Anything that you notice doing that tucking, tipping, wagging?
I feel like it's really, I feel like really called to like move my whole body and just like kind of create my own dance and rhythm of tucking, tipping, and wagging.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well let's add another one. And let's add the wavy spine like a snake. So I didn't even know that snakes did this until I started learning this practice. And then I saw a green snake just like, it just like totally went straight up like this one in the picture and waved. So first put your hands, find your hip, the top of your hip bones, and let your hands rest on your hip bones and just feel your shoulders stretching out and your hands resting on those hip bones and feel that strong foundation. You know, this snake has to like coil up to make a foundation, but we actually have these incredible hip bones that make this bowl that our spine gets to sit within. And so that's our strong foundation. And you know, remember that tip forward and tip back, find that place in the middle where it feels really good, where that circulation can move. And then let's just, before we do anything else, stick your butt out and try and make your spine wavy. It's kind of hard. And then tip it the other way and try and make it wavy. Like it doesn't really wave very well when it's tipped forward or backwards. So let's balance that pelvic bowl where your hips are. And then just like a snake rising up from the foundation and like your body was naturally doing, just let your spine wave. See if you can feel like each little new little spots. Is there a little bit of ease here? Can also help, the snake's head is really up straight. And so I like to think of my ears, like my ears are just being pulled straight up to make my spine really long. So my gaze is still forward, but my ears are being lifted up to make my spine long. It also makes it so like a snake, I can listen, see what sounds I hear inside my body, outside my body. While you're waving like a snake, you can also keep your ears and your spine lifted, but like turn and look to the right. Slowly turn back and turn and look to the left. Also, it's really helpful because, snakes make sounds. This is a curriculum that we use to teach the little kids also. And so we like to let the animals teach us. So you can let out like a snake. And I really like when I do that, I want to get out anything that's particularly inside my belly for when I keep stress in my belly. I want to anything that's stuck in my heart, and I want to let it out with that sound. Well, I let that waviness flow. Mm. Anything that you're noticing being wavy like a snake.
Mm. This feels, yeah, it just feels really needed in this moment right now.
Mm.
It
Good.
feels like, yeah, it doesn't feel totally foreign. It feels
Mm, yeah,
familiar and
your body
playful.
and playful. Yeah,
Mm,
we could use a little playfulness, right?
mm, mm.
So, is there anything given the full body breathing with your arms under your armpits or your hand on your heart and your belly, tucking and, kind of pumping your pelvis bone, wagging your tail, being wavy? Are there any particular movements that you feel like really bring some ease to your system?
I think the snake movement felt really feels, I think, the most supportive.
Sweet. Can you think of a place where you might
Mm.
kind of invite yourself to be wavy like a snake?
Yeah, what comes up for me is while I'm cooking dinner, right? Like
Mhm.
I notice sometimes I clench the muscles in my butt during that time. Like I feel tense during that time of day because it feels like there's so much to do and so much to tend to while I'm trying to like feed my family. But if I can remember to just move like a snake and kind of swing,
Yeah.
be really supportive and nourishing for my body while I'm also nourishing my family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That feels beautiful. Yeah, that strong foundation, like that your pelvis bowl is giving you while
Mm,
you're providing this foundation for your family. And
mm.
then I love this image. So, this is again, the whole central nervous system is the brain, and then the spine with the spinal cord. And you can kind of see, if you look closely, those blue arrows, that's the cerebrospinal fluid. And the more that fluid can move and feed your brain and feed the spinal cord, which then feeds all the nerves going all throughout the body, the more circulation, blood, and oxygen that it gets, the easier it is for the brain to do its functioning, for the nervous system to do its functioning. So even though our mind might be racing or our heart might be racing, we might have lots of thoughts, to just at least give our body that little bit of more room for it to move the fluids to help it do its thing, you know, maybe will help our mind and our heart. That we'll just have to experiment to see. But what I love about this image and picturing you cooking, standing at the stove is like, I imagine our lungs and our heart and our belly, all of that just like nestled up along the strong support of our spine, and that our spine is just holding all of this together. And then if you also picture that pelvis bone down at the bottom, it's just like really holding and supporting our body. And so feeling how your spine is supporting your body, and then you're offering that wavy movement to let it move and get the fluids everywhere it needs to go. And like you said, you tend to clench, so common, so many of us. And the more we can open at the very bottom of the spine, so the more we can open there, that's where that find the pelvis bone, that place where it feels really good. And then the more we can open back here at the bottom of our brain stem at the top of our spine, so getting our head in that place that feels yummy, then the more that circulation is able to move all the way through the spine. Well, I'll send you as a little follow-up. But what we did today was we did wavy like the snake, working on our giving attention to that pelvic floor and the spine. And we did some full body breathing, which is the ribs and the lungs and our shoulders. We perked our ears up with our brain and our neck and our shoulders. And then we did that tucking and wagging with the tailbone and the pelvis and the spine. So I'll send this to you as just like a reminder. If you want to like put it on your phone and just pop it open in a moment. And is there anything I could do to like feed my nervous system or give a little bit of ease? And if you want to keep coming, we'll explore some of the others. And then I also just want to acknowledge that all of this work, it's about just finding habits of ease and finding places, like you said, while you're cooking dinner, that you can just integrate it in and just give the body little signals of rest and restore, because we get stress signals all the time. So this is an opportunity to give some signals of rest and restore. This I've been being trained by Teresa Posakony, and she has two different programs: self-regulation, creating habits of ease. So some of the images that you saw today come from that body of work and were given with permission. And she's offering a four-part series of that starts November 18th. So if you go to Power of Ease Keys, you can learn about that. And then we also both have worked on this self-regulation for early learners, which is stories to unlock our superpowers, and helping the little ones unlock their superpowers. So that's the just quick little offering of things we can do for our system. Um, it's absolutely not necessary, and donations of funds or feedback, what works for you, if there's other sessions like this that you would enjoy, that is most welcome. And that's just a little taste of ease for today.